We're going to talk about Florida. Florida is making some big moves on the property tax discussion. Let's get into this video.
Florida's making a pretty bold move on property taxes. The Florida House just passed HJR 203 on an 80-30 party line vote. So what does it do? It proposes a constitutional amendment to eliminate all non-school ad valorem property taxes on homestead properties, basically just meaning your primary residence. That includes county, city, and special district property taxes. School district taxes would remain. If approved, the relief.
Wait, if school district taxes remain, does that mean that we're going to still have property taxes? It's just not going to be as many things factored into the amount that you're paying for those property taxes should this pass? That kind of seems like what he's saying there. So then, why not just make the property tax a flat rate if they're still going to have property taxes? It's not truly going to be eliminated. It does say Florida moves to eliminate most property taxes, but why not just move to do the property taxes in a different way? But let's proceed.
Would begin January 1st of next year. The proposal also includes guardrails. Local governments cannot reduce funding for law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders below recent levels. This still has to pass the Florida Senate in identical form before the legislative
Is it
session.
me, or does it seem like they're just trying to act like maybe homeowners that don't want to be priced out of their home are evil people because they don't want to pay something that's paying emergency services? Because that just seems to be the consistent message. It's going for emergency services. It's going for the schools. It's going for the roads. Does it seem to me that the person that might be just trying to barely survive in their home because their wage is in the toilet, maybe their once a month check isn't enough, and they just want to survive as well, that they're almost being villainized because they don't want to be priced out of their home over time due to the property taxes? I mean, this says it moves to eliminate most property taxes, but my thing is, do the taxes in a different way. I mean, everything is taxed anyway. I just kind of think this whole property tax thing where you're taxed forever, and even when you're no longer here, you still have to pay that tax. I mean, but you're also responsible for the home repairs, the maintenance, replacing things. But then you're having to compete with this tax. You're getting older. You might have passed it down to a relative or children, and they don't have the funds because now the home is 30 or 40 or 50 years older, and they're also having to keep up with the tax and that maintenance. Is it me, or does it seem like they're just wanting to act like people that are trying to hold on to their money just to survive don't want to help pay like services? And I don't think anyone is saying that. I think they're saying that you can get the money in a different way. Be that you won't just, push the button to create more money. You can get the money differently without holding the person's home over their head and essentially kicking them to the curb if they no longer have the money that you printed and distributed to them to continue to pay said money. That's just kind of what it sounds like to me, but please put your comments in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy hearing our perspectives and sharing yours back with us. It really encourages us to continue going, making videos, and sharing our thoughts. Let's proceed.
In March. If it does, it goes on the ballot in November of 2026, where it needs 60% voter approval to amend the state constitution. So that's it for now. I'll work to keep you guys up to date. Do not forget I have a free email newsletter I send out every month.
Well, I think just that the conversation is getting out there more. Back in the day with the whole tea thing, and people went crazy for that. I mean, people are not, I think people are just so exhausted. They're not going crashing out for anything, even things that they might think is a true just cause to fight for. Especially when it comes down to societal norms, things that people haven't accept, even if they seem a little bit outrageous. People are not going out of their way to fight anymore because they have drained the soul out of the average person. People are just really just in survival mode, and some people are just in a whole nother mode, unfortunately, because it's become crazy. But let's go ahead and listen to the next perspective from this content creator.
It's already to pay attention, and it doesn't matter what party you belong to. At this moment, the Republicans are pushing a bill for us not to pay property taxes. And I know what you're thinking. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, or independent. You're thinking, what a relief. But I'm sorry, I think it's going to be more difficult for us living here in the state of Florida, especially when it comes to public services. I am still perplexed to why are we not working on the insurance crisis?
That's true. The insurance rates in Florida have gone up. The property taxes have gone up. I mean, it's just like I said, things are just going in the opposite direction pretty quickly, but let's continue here.
Doubled or tripled for many of us. It doesn't only affect the houses, it affects the automobiles as well. And let me just tell you right now, Ron DeSantis says he is trying to help us, but I haven't seen any of that help whatsoever. But I do know that he is beholden to some of these insurance companies that have actually paid to his campaign. Now, this
Well,
question.
first of all, corporations are always paying to someone's campaign and someone's getting elected. And unfortunately, those voices are louder than the average person's voice because the corporations have the big bucks behind them. And all we have, or all the person may have that voted for them, is a few dollars in their savings account, not even enough to cover for an emergency. So, of course, a politician may be just more eager to promote the narrative of the bigger stoners. It's sad. It's just a disgrace, but this is the society that people find themselves living in.
Is going to be put on the ballot for voters to choose if they want to phase out the home property taxes. And this is the reason why I'm speaking to you, because you have to think how this is going to affect the state in general. Now, according to Florida Politics, it says that the measure includes language prohibiting local governments from reducing police, fire rescue, and other first responder related levies below current levels. And it also exempts school district taxes. However, big and small cities are sounding the alarm. They were like, if you do this, we are not going to generate enough general revenue to pay for public safety expenditures.
So, as I said, get it a different way because if you self-preservation is like in every walk of life, right? From the animals in the jungle, the fish in the ocean, like self-preservation. You can't preserve everyone else but yourself, right? If you're in an airplane, you have to like give yourself the oxygen first. Like you have to take care of yourself first. First, you have to be stable. You have to not be worried about that roof is gonna no longer be over your head. Then you can give more when you have it. Like, Maslow's law of hierarchy. Like you can't worry about this and that when you're still trying to get your basic needs met. So while I get her point about those services are absolutely important. No one's saying that they aren't. There's different ways we should be able to come up with in 2026 to fund those services without at the same time pricing people out of the homes that they've paid for. I don't believe that you have to put people at mercy of being put out of their homes in order to fund any service. Because when you mortgage the home and you moved in, you expected that the county, the state, and the governments that run this country are going to make sure in a first world country that people have access to emergency services. And with all the other taxes that are collected and all the other taxes they can make up just overnight, should they choose, you can fund those things that way. You can make packages just for those things. You don't have to make people homeless to pay those things. I just don't understand, again, why homeowners would be villainized because they don't want to be taxed out of their home. Maybe she has better finances than the neighbor next door. Maybe the next neighbor next door is on a fixed income. Maybe the neighbor next door doesn't have enough space to rent out a room so that they can have additional money to pay the increases. Maybe they need those property taxes to be at a bare minimum or go away so that they can keep a roof over their head. Should we not consider that as well? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Please place your thoughts in the comment section.
In fact, some of them are looking at 62%, 68% of losing their budget. How is that helpful? So once again,
Who's
I know you're
balancing the
looking at.
budget? Who's balancing the budget? Who's creating the budget? Who's scrutinizing the budgets? All over, not just Florida. All over. Who all these budgets? Who's really keeping track of that? We know so many programs and so many things supposed to have a budget, and then we know that there's money going places that shouldn't be going, and people getting certain benefits that they shouldn't be getting, and people writing checks to themselves that they shouldn't be writing. So again, If you don't have the real, true, hands-on experience and knowledge into these budgets, which most people don't, they really have no idea how that money's being allocated and what's really needed because it's all like a smoke screen, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts. Would you move to Florida if they minimize? Because it didn't say they was totally getting rid of it, but would Florida be a hot spot for you to move to if they lowered the property taxes and removed some of the elements that would normally encompass property taxes? Would you move there? Would you leave where you are to move to the state of Florida? Let's continue here.
Your pocket. I know things are hard in this economy, but I'm sorry. I do want the police. I do want the fire department.
We all do.
I do want emergency
all do.
services. I absolutely want schools because here we have in the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis just giving into any private school this money, this voucher, $8,000. It doesn't even matter if you're a millionaire or not. And we have to close 7 schools here in Orange County District. This will absolutely matter. Talk about it, especially if the Republicans manage to get it passed.
Well, I guess she's making this a party, one party versus the other thing. I think any homeowner, no matter what party, no party, wants to stay in their home. And I do think they think there's a better way we can do things in this century to keep people in their homes. And that to me is a bigger conversation. How we can make packages to fund these things, just like we fund so many other ventures easily overnight. There's checks going out and money going out all over the globe. We can do this to pay locally. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We do not need to put people out of their homes. But share your thoughts. Let us know. I thank you for listening to Perspective. Please subscribe to the channel to continue to hear more. Thank you and take care.